Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ronin's Den, and I got something fun and exciting planned for tonight. I'm going to be kicking off our brand new segment called The Cringe Files. That's right. We are going to talk about all the things that make us just groan at the table, where we just see something that is just god-awful cringy. And tonight, I have found something on TikTok that brought back a lot of memories and inspired me to create this segment. We're going to dive into session 1, which I am going to call That Guy. So let's go ahead, roll some video, and take a trip down memory lane, shall we?
You've got such a problem with it, then why don't you just fight my character? Exactly, 'cause you know how that would go.
Well, I think that you are absolutely blessed if you have never had the unfortunate experience of having that guy at your table. Oh, by the way, let me say, this is all a skit. This person's not being serious. It should be painfully clear of that, but I just want to throw it out there. But yes, no. If you have never had that guy at your table, you are blessed. I had that situation at my table. And, yeah, it was really unfortunate as well because that guy was actually a good friend of mine. And this is one of those stories, too, that just goes to show you that not all friends are good D&D friends. Back in high school, I was running a game of Night Below. In fact, it's right there on my bookshelf. And it's billed as like the ultimate dungeon crawling adventure for 2nd edition. I really like it. I've run it a number of times over the years. And I had my normal group of people together for this game. It was my buddy Steve, not the Steve from this channel, somebody I grew up with, our friend Costa, and a buddy Mike. Now, we usually played with 3 people. It was good, you know. 4 of us, one running, 3 people playing. But we had a friend of ours from high school, because this is going back to freshman, sophomore year, somewhere around there, who wanted to give D&D a tryout. He had played Magic, and he was into the Final Fantasy video games, Chrono Trigger, Super Nintendo, JRPG, stuff that we were into. We hung out when we weren't playing games, doing street hockey, that kind of thing. Great guy. We enjoyed playing games with him. And I'm not going to drop his name and put him on blast. I know he'll recognize this is him if he sees this video, though. And he said, hey, I want to try D&D out. We were like, great. Yeah, absolutely, man. Finally, you want to try out D&D. Because we would play Magic at the lunch table at school, Battletech. We used to bite French fries in half and use graph paper, and that's how we played Battletech. So we had him show up a little bit early before the session, and we helped him create a character. I was running. We made sure his character was the same level as the rest of the party. We figured out the average number of magical items that the party had. We gave him that number, and we rolled them out randomly like we used to do back in the day. And we got him started. He was playing as his very first character, a dwarven fighter. We were also running kits, and he took the Battle Rager kit. And I will tell you, he did a fantastic job of getting into character. He was having a blast. But there came a point in the story that night where the party had to make a decision on where to go. They were tracking down a lost mage's apprentice by the name of Jelenith. And there was evidence that they could have been in one direction or the other. Costa, being the de facto party leader for this one, said, hey, I think we should go that way. And the rest of the party was like, yeah, no, that makes absolute sense. The new guy was like, no, man, I think we should go that way. And everybody was like, no, we don't really want to go that way. We want to go the other way, which led to a little bit of a back and forth between the characters. Costa was playing his character very well. He was playing a human paladin, and the new guy was really hamming up his dwarven battle rager. And it got to the point where he's like, fine, I'll just fight you for it then. You're going to fight the guy to figure out which way on the adventure you're going to go, left or right. Okay. I pumped the brakes on this. I'm like, hey, guys, come on. None of that. We don't like to do PvP. Like, you know that, Costa. You know that, Steve. You know that, Mike. We don't do PvP. Now, Mike was a couple years older than us. He was Steve's older brother's friend who just kind of adopted us as his new group of D&D people. He was teaching me and Costa how to run games. He was the first person to teach me DMing, and I owe him for a lot of knowledge I've gained. And he's like, yeah, no PvP. It's not fun. It always leads to problems. So the brakes are pumped. Everything's fine, right? No, it wasn't. Because the new guy had to become that guy. He got it in his thought that all he was going to do was fight his way through every problem. And I told him, like, hey, look, I get it. Battle Rager, you like to fight. But can you dial it back a bit, right? Just a little bit. Just bring it back just a scotch for me. And a few times throughout the night, I had to tell him. Well, we get up to this last part where it was, they were trying to hatch a plan to go into the Broken Spire Keep. And the Broken Spire Keep is like the last step on the journey before you start going underground in the night below. Sorry, spoilers for like a 40-year-old module. My bad. But it's like one of the final steps before you start going underground into the Underdark. And the new guy was like, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this instead. All of a sudden, he wants to go do something completely different. And again, I'll fight you for it. And at this point, Costa was like, I'm done. This is just BS. And he says, if he wants to fight, let's do it. Like, I'll do it. Let's just get it out of the way. And I was like, oh my God, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But them being then, I'm like, if you all agree that this is what you want to do, I guess let's do it, Mike. And he's like, hey, they're signing on for it. Let them do their thing. I was like, oh, okay. So initiatives rolled. Fight goes on. Now, the new guy thought he was this massive badass because, like, we pumped him up about his character. He had an 18, something strength. In D&D 2nd edition, characters could have exponential strength if you've never played it, which is if you roll an 18 for strength as a warrior class only, you roll the percentile die. And that percentile was how much stronger you were at 18. And it was, it was like, you're not 19 strength, but you're damn near close. Like, even like an 1805 is an amazing strength for a fighter. But anyway, they fight. Costa just trounces him. Like, he's a paladin. He's got some good gear. Like, he's been playing the game a lot longer, and it was a decent fight. But Battle Rager dead. We were playing with the -10 rule, which in 2nd edition is you drop to 0 hit points. You can go to, that's just knocks you on the ground. You can go to -10, and that's when you die. But even with that rule in effect, Costa did like more than -10 worth of damage to him, and it was over. Like, character's down, man. Like, sorry, like, this is what you wanted. And of course, the fight in game just didn't stay in game, and it became words out of the game. And me and Mike are looking at each other going, yep, this is why you don't allow PvP in your games, no matter what the players say. It's a bad idea. And that is where I learned that lesson. And Mike was giving me that, veteran DM look to the new kid going, see, it's a bad idea. We had to end the session that night. All because the new player had to be that guy about PvP. It sucked. And it actually caused some problems with the friend group after that too, where there were some hard feelings. And it's like, it just couldn't be left in the game. But it goes to show you why you don't do PvP, or you really shouldn't, in my opinion, between the party, and why sometimes somebody outside of game isn't always going to be the best person to bring into a game. But let's go ahead and continue with the next that guy at the table, because this one got me thinking as well.
Oh, you're playing a half elf? That's what I got to say about that.
Okay, so that is the not so subtle in-game racism thing. I am going to tell you, nobody at my table was that guy. Like, I lucked out. That has never been an issue with my regular friend group. However, over the years of running games and doing them online mostly, I have absolutely run into that guy. And that guy sucks so much. Typically, they are the types that will have this thing in their head that this one species in D&D or whatever game they're playing is the best, and that is the only character type that anybody should play, and they're stupid if they don't pick it. And the couple times I've had to deal with this in online games, it was either a Dragonborn player or, and I found this a little odd, a gnome. Like, gnomes and Dragonborn, they have been the two most problematic player types with this situation, which is funny because I would think that I'd get it more from the elves, people who main elves, because of how the lore lists them as arrogant and haughty and all that neat, fun, happy jazz. But no, Dragonborn and gnomes. And let me tell you, this is just not a good look, people. Like, I don't even need to deep dive this to tell you the reasons this isn't a good look and why you don't want to be that guy at the table. In-game racism isn't a cool thing, and that's what that guy is all about.
DM, is this seriously the loot we find in the dungeon, bro? None of these fucking items do damage, man. This is all just vendor trash. I mean...
Okay, so I have had to deal with that guy with all of my friends throughout the years at the table, regardless of what game we were playing. But D&D was the absolute worst to bring out that guy in my friends. So let me explain how I used to do treasure back in the day. And I know y'all probably have a better way of handling this nowadays. So do I. But I still like this way of doing treasure. Back in 2nd edition, in the back of the book, just like in 5th edition, there are treasure tables that you roll. In the Monsters Manual, it tells you which tables to roll on, and they have letters like A, B, C, D. There's individual treasures. There's layer treasures. Now, when it came to individual treasures, after a fight, I would just quickly roll on the tables. Or I would just be like, hey, I need a couple rolls from people. Who wants to throw the percentile? And I would just get the results and be like, okay, you find this much gold, you find this item. But for layer treasures, I always had the players roll. Now, what was fun about the layer treasures was I would bust out the Encyclopedia Magicas. I miss my Encyclopedia Magicas so much. These, if you don't know what they are 4 books, and they had all of the magical items at the time of printing, from all of the D&D settings and Dragon magazines, A through Z. All of them. I loved these books, and I would love to get my hands on a physical copy of them again. I lost them when I moved out from New Jersey and came to Washington. They got lost somewhere in the move across country. But alas, those are like $500 for a complete set of those books. And trust me, I check garage sales just hoping somebody has their kids' books and they're selling them for like $10 because they don't know what they got. I know. I'm that guy for that. But yeah. Anyway, for the layer treasures, I'd say, do you want to use standard DMG loot, or do you want me to bust out the Encyclopedia Magicas? Now, the thing with Encyclopedia Magicas is they had everything. So there was a chance that you could get some really cool shit. Or, since it had everything, you might get a really dud item. Like, a pipe of bubble blowing. It's a cool item, and it definitely can be used for some really unthought of effects if you can, think creatively with it. But again, you're diluting your loot pool. It's a lot harder to get that one item you might really want. And I'd still have them throw the dice, and we would go through each and every section of it. And there were times where the random numbers were just not kind to the players when the loot was determined. In fact, there were some outright comical hordes that dragons had just sitting in their lairs. Like, where did you get this, and why did you keep it? What and why? Like a cape that always billows in the wind. Like, why do you have 4 of these? Dragon, seriously? But they would complain about the loot, and it was something that I always hated when it happened, because it's like, guys, the loot's randomly determined. You rolled the dice. Why are you getting mad at me? I gave you the choice. Do you want to have the expanded loot tables? Do you want to have the more condensed loot table? And I get the frustrations, right? Like, you want cool things for your characters. And nowadays, a lot of people do wish listing, where they have their players tell them the loot that they want to get for their character throughout their career. I do that as well. I ask all my players, like, if I'm running D&D, give me 5 items that you want for your character before they retire. And that helps me come up with at least 5 side missions that I can give them the spotlight when we get to them to run. And they absolutely get the treasure they're looking for. But again, hindsight's 2020. I learned how to run these games in elementary school. I started playing D&D in like 1st grade, right? 1st edition. 2nd edition was the one I was collecting. So we didn't have all this knowledge. Like, I was learning from, like, reading the books and my buddy's older brother and his friend group that were playing the game. And they learned from either themselves or the people at the local game store. And everybody largely did things the same way because we were kind of locked by our geography. The internet wasn't really the thing when I started playing, and certainly didn't become the main mode of play for me until, well, honestly, somewhat recently in my gaming career. But yeah, don't be that guy when it comes to loot. It hurts the DM's feelings. We want you to get cool items. We really do. But also, not everything can be a banger, right? Like, if we're handing out +5 swords on every loot table, they're not special anymore. You need a few kind of janky items that you have no idea how to use or why you would ever have it to make the ones that you really like stand out. And even if something you perceive is useless, I can guarantee you I could find uses for it during play. It may be some incredibly niche situation or something that is just a creative usage of that item, like a pipe of blowing bubbles to fill up a hallway and obscure vision while the players are sneaking around. Something, right? There's always a use for all loot, but don't be that guy.
You know, I'm just saying, my last DM, who lives in Canada, used to let our characters transform into powerful dragons because he said he didn't want to limit our creativity.
Oh my God. Okay. So, first of all, here's the thing. Having limits on your player characters is not stifling your creativity. Let me tell you something. You have to be a lot more creative when you only have a limited pool of things to draw from and make something unique. You got to think creatively in that situation. Boundless possibilities is not the breeding ground of creativity. That out of the way. I have run into that guy a lot, but mostly online playing games and running games. And they typically take the form of somebody showing up with a pre-made character sheet going, here's my OC, this is what I'm playing. You look at it and it's like, no, you're not. Like, this is completely out of bounds for what the game's listed as, right? Like, I'll say, hey, I'm running a one-shot, bring a level 3 character, only use point buy. The following 5 character species are banned. These 4 subclasses are just not in the game. Like, I'm not dealing with this stuff. So these are your choices. And they'll show up with obviously something that's on both of those things, 5 levels above, almost perfect stats, no way they use point buy for it, and like +5 everything. Like I have a +5 sword and +5 plate mail and bracers of the blinding strike and boots of speed, a cloak of displacement. Yeah, like what? No, you don't. And then it's always, well, my other DM just lets me play whatever characters I bring to the table. Well, I'm happy for that other DM and you. But you need to read the game invite, which if I'm going to be hosting a game online, I typically always post a brief synopsis. This is the game invite. If you're interested, reply below. It is a adventure for this system. It's starting at this level. I'm planning on running it for like 5 sessions. Nothing major, just kind of like an arc. I don't have anything planned for after that. Maybe we continue, maybe we don't. Here's the character generation rules. Follow these. If you'd like to play, get back to me. I'll let you know if we can seat you at the table. But, I run into that guy at least once on every one of those games that I post on a public forum. Reddit is plagued by that guy. Plagued by him.
Well, I deserve a bigger cut. Listen, if they're gonna pay us 1,000 gold, then I get 700, and the 5 of you can split the last of it. Because, let's face it, if I don't come along, there's no way you guys are gonna succeed.
Okay, that guy. I have yeeted that guy from the table as a player and as a game master 5, 6, 7 times over the years. Who knows? I'm making up a number there that sounds good. It's been a few times I've had to kick those people from the table. And it's always this sense of entitlement when they show up. I have made the superior character, so I'm going to take everything. And it just puts the whole play session in just a weird place. Like people are like, they look at him and they're like, why are you here? Are you here to cooperate? Do you want to play a collaborative game, or is it just all about you and what you could get? Now, this guy also pairs nicely with this loot table is trash guy, because they're going to look at all the bad treasure and just start cherry picking the things that are in there that are good, whether they're going to use them or not. Now, my preferred way that players divvy up loot is that they decide between themselves, like, hey, this obviously will work good for your character. You should take it. Hey, this is an obvious upgrade for your character. Maybe you should have this. And over the years, my good dedicated groups, they do a fantastic job of that. Even when I was a player at those tables, it was quite easy for me to say, hey, look, I don't need that +5 sword of sharpness. I'm playing a wizard. Why would I take that, right? Playing online or at a local game store with some stranger, typically at least once or twice a month, I would run into somebody that say, I'll take that high level sword for my wizard because the bonus for the magic actually negates the penalty I get for using a non-proficiency weapon. Therefore, I'm only like -2 to hit with it. But if I cast this spell, I'm actually +3. And it's like, dude, you're a wizard. The fighter over here is using a +0 sword. Like, obviously, that sword is a huge upgrade for them. Why are you being that guy? I also prefer that they split the treasure evenly. Now, what I've done over the years and what I do now to avoid this situation wholesale is I just have the NPCs tell the players, this is how much I'm willing to give each one of you. I don't just say you're going to get a lump sum of 1,000. I will say I'm going to give you each 200 gold. Split it. That's it. Like, you all get 200 gold. And if they want to negotiate a higher rate individually for themselves, cool. We got game mechanics that we can bring into effect and see if you can get a higher rate for yourself. And I typically reserve a little bit of extra money on the side and say, I'll give only a maximum of an extra 200, however many people are able to convince this person to give them more money. So convincing will guarantee an extra lump sum. It's never higher than that. And you get one convince. You don't get to do it a whole bunch of times. It's, hey, I want more than 200. Okay, make your check. You succeed. I'll give you 50 more. Take it or leave it. Fine, take it. I want to do it again. Sorry, you did it once. There's no second rolls for this. Oh, man. But yeah, that video, that reminded me of so many just messed up situations at a table where I had to deal with just that guy. And I'm sure you've had to deal with that guy over the years too, whether it was from the scenarios that were in that video or things that just weren't mentioned there. And I'd love to hear about those. So if you like this video, please give a like and subscribe below. It really helps us out. We're trying to grow the channel here. We do Let's Plays. We do a lot of breakdowns on Fabula Ultima. That's our game of choice this year. And this is going to be a new segment moving forward as well. So drop your scenarios down in the cringe files. We'll talk about them in our next video. And I will look forward to catching up with everybody next week, where we're going to be jumping into another Fabula Ultima video. We're going to be releasing another class breakdown, and we'll probably dive into some additional rules as well. I'm thinking we might touch the rituals and spell casting, since that topic's been coming up a lot between all the classes we're doing, and we haven't quite gone through how rituals work. So again, give us a smash on the like and subscribe button. It really helps us out, and I will catch you next time on Ronin's Den.